Eddie Trunk back with you on this week's Eddie Trunk podcast. We are now joined by all four members of Alice in Chains who were in the New York studio while I was in L.A. And a quick note on this interview that you're about to hear. About two-thirds of the way through, we had a technical glitch where somebody cut off my headphone feed in L.A., and I wasn't sure that I was still on the air. I could not hear them. I was hearing somebody recording a commercial at the time that they were in the middle of the interview. Just out of nowhere, somebody clipped our feed. And in the studio with me in L.A. was Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses, and I'll bring you that interview in the coming weeks here on the Eddie Trunk podcast. So you'll hear Dizzy chime in a little bit on this interview with all four members of Alice in Chains. And again, a little bit of a technical snafu in the middle, and you'll get the sense of what was going on. So have a listen, and you'll figure it out as we go. Alice in Chains right now, part 2 of this week's Eddie Trunk podcast. So what's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey.
Brother Eddie. This is great.
Yeah, the song sounded good, Dizzy. Sounded really good.
Thank you.
There's a lot. Now, we talked a little bit about this during the break. We don't want to bore everybody to tears, but what is beyond the fact that Alice in Chains has done some touring with Guns N' Roses? There's some history, Dizzy, you have with these guys.
A little bit of golf, and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's the wrong term. We lose a lot of golf balls together.
Yeah. The
Yes,
good
we
thing
do.
is Dizzy sucks as bad as Mike and I do, so we're totally comfortable playing with each other. And
Yes.
Dizzy and I have actually tried to improve that by we got the same golf instructor out in Los Angeles, Bobby Hines, and he's been helping us shave a couple of points off.
Bobby Hines.
Yes, immensely.
Sounds like a golf
I like
coach
B
name.
Hines. Yeah. Hey, B Hines.
It's like a hotel name.
I know.
That's Brent Hines' thing too.
Oh yeah, that's right. B Hines. That's
his
right.
deal.
Yeah, he's a good buddy of Robbie Krieger. That's how I met
Yes.
him, and get to play with him once in a while too.
So Jerry, you actually take golf lessons?
I do. Yeah,
How long?
Do everything like bass backwards. Like I figure like when I'm 10 years in playing, I take my first lesson. It's been Dizzy. I think it's probably about the same way. Like we probably should. We probably should have took a couple lessons before we started.
It was very masochistic up until then.
But we're getting there. Yeah.
I was told by a lot of people, like, if you don't, like, I'm 53 years old. A lot of people, and I've never played golf, and a lot of people say to me, if you haven't, don't start now. Just don't do it. You don't want to do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
So who golfs in the band? Obviously, Jerry does. Mike does. William, you golfing at all? Or are you chilling? What are you doing?
Hell no.
Sean, golfing?
No.
His dad holds out hope. He has a dream that someday. Well, do you think Sean will ever come out and play with us? I'm like, I don't think so.
Jerry golfs with my dad and all that stuff. But, yeah, not yet.
Now we know why there's been 5
Frank,
years.
Frank, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to do it. Well, you think maybe? No.
Yeah.
Now we know why there's been 5 years waiting for an Alice in Chains record. Jerry's been too busy golfing with Mike. I think we figured that all out.
It's a good place to kick around ideas, though.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
So talking about a new record, a great new song and video that's come out, and tell me a little bit about this and when the record's coming, and give us the song. People were calling my radio show last week when the song hit, and they were like, man, have you heard it? It's so killer. So the response out there has been amazing to it. I'm sure you guys are feeling that as well, right?
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
In a day or two. How long? When did it come out?
a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weirdo and jagged thing with a kind of a trippy middle and a cool chorus and stuff. So it's good to see people reacting to it. We just did a interview with somebody for a guy who just couldn't get the title together 3 times.
The one you know is the title.
Yeah, the one. See, look at that. The one you know.
I'm the one
Come on.
you know.
See, you've come to a professional now.
Yeah.
I know the
I
freaking
know.
name of the record.
Yeah.
The one you know.
You're not going to mess it
So-
up. You're
No,
a rock
hell
historian,
no.
man.
It's
Written
Come
down
on.
right
Come
in
on.
front of you. Read it. Read it.
Google.
Yeah.
Google that shit.
It's a good tune. We played it for the first time in, what was it, Will, North Carolina?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Carolina Rebellion.
Yeah.
And made it through, and it sounded pretty good. We've been playing it ever since, and it's all right.
Yeah.
That was just this past weekend, right?
Yeah.
A couple days
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, 2 gigs ago. Yeah.
So that was the first time you broke it out live and it went down with the crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the old days where we were like writing stuff on tour in front of people and playing versions. You know, it's kind of different now. Everybody films everything, so it's like you kind of
got to wait till it comes out officially and then you play it.
You don't have to, but I mean, it's like
it's better. You don't want your first introduction of the tune to be the.
I've always
the
felt
bad
that way
cell
since
phone
things
recording.
have switched. You know, but
5,000 shitty sounding iPhone recordings of your tune for everybody to comment on.
yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of a different thing. It's not that you can't, but I mean, we'd prefer that people hear it the way that we intended it, and then we go out and fuck it up live. You know, the huge. We do the huge.
Right.
Here's
how it's supposed to go, and now here's
Our version
how
of
we're
it
gonna
right
do
now.
it.
Here's what you get.
Here's our version of us doing it right now. Yeah.
You know, you guys talked about touring with. I mentioned you guys touring with Guns N' Roses, and any shenanigans go on between the two bands while you guys are out there together. Did you see each other much? Dizzy? Anything?
I mean,
We never met them.
Who are you talking about?
We've never met them. I
never
think
met them.
They're like Bigfoot.
We've done a lot of touring
Allegedly they
with
exist.
with Guns, and we also went out and toured with Velvet Revolver too. So you know, we've been friends with all those guys for a lot of years, and really fortunate to be able to.
It's a good bill.
Yeah.
You
I
want to
mean-
feel old. Well, I'll tell you real quick. You want to feel old as dirt. Speaking of touring, though, I felt like 100 years old coming off this weekend because I don't know if I said this to you, Dizzy, but I was at the DO Cancer Fund event on yesterday, and one of the bands that played, Slash's son is in. I was like, oh my god! They're called Classless Act. They made their live debut yesterday. They're playing opening for Steven Adler at the Whiskey here in LA on Thursday.
What
Slash's
is
son
he-
is the drummer.
Oh, drummer, cool, nice.
He's the drummer, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, because it seemed like yesterday I'm at Slash's house and he was yelling at him to go to bed. And I'm like, now this kid is playing drums.
Yeah. Well, and
like,
then
what's going on?
And then Duff's daughter has a band.
Yeah, she's
and
great.
They, and
Right.
they open for Guns sometimes too.
Robert
Sean's
Trujillo's
nephew's the
kid.
drummer of that.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
nephew Keenan's the drummer. So Grace
Yeah.
McKagan and my nephew.
What's that band called again? That
Pink
band's called
Slips.
like
Got a-
Pink
got-
Slips.
Got an interband spawn
Yeah,
band.
they're really good. They're a really great band.
Then Robert Trujillo's kid was playing bass and corn for a
Oh
break.
yeah, he's badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was
He's our little
crazy. The
brother.
kid's like 14. He was in South America.
Yeah,
with
he's great
Korn.
though.
Yeah.
He's really good. Ty's great.
That's amazing, man. So you guys are out already, right? You're touring now. When is the full record coming out? What's the story with that?
In the future.
Is it done?
In the future.
Kind of eyeing late summer, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think probably end of August area kind of window, somewhere in there.
Is it a case of finding the window that you want to put it out, or finishing it? Are you done with it?
Well,
done.
I think it's more a situation of we just have we just partnered with BMG just recently, so we still got to get all our ducks in line and figure out artwork and all that kind of stuff and
Hire some ducks.
Yeah, we got to get some ducks.
We have to get.
There's a union, apparently.
Yeah.
But it's
They're
cool.
getting
We're
harder to
we're
deal
excited
with.
about it. They're excited about it, and we made a really great record. I think so. We'll see what everybody else thinks about it, but we're pretty happy with it.
It's
And you talk
terrific.
You talk a little bit about how people are getting exposed to new music these days. You pretty much led the charge on this by putting out a video for it. I mean, that was the way you more or less announced the song, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a few irons in the fire of some interesting stuff. Sean started talking to this director who was making a movie, kind of a cool, dark, kind of sci-fi, edgy kind of film, right? And we were talking about maybe doing the visual, two separate pieces of work and art, but maybe kind of molding them together. And so that's kind of like a little episodic thing of the first.
Yeah, so the
thing.
video is sort of the first chapter of
Yeah.
the molding of the two
It's
together.
kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
Just trying to have cool content, stuff that keeps us interested outside of just music, to try to, focus on. We finished the record, and then there's all the other stuff, and this band's always controlled everything down to the font, our artwork and everything about the band. A lot of people in the do the music, they don't really have a lot of control over all aspects of their career, but we've always just been super deep on everything, you know, calling all the shots for the whole career. So it's kind of continues that way, and it's just trying to find things we haven't done before.
It's always
you know?
cool working with other cool creative people too that have different visions, and you know.
Yeah, and you do things we haven't done before.
The video looks cool as hell. I mean, for people who haven't seen it, you can go to the band's website and you can see it. It's right there on the homepage of AlisonChains.com.
Got a head banging amoeba.
But I love I love the lighting in it though. It's just got such a cool look. Even if you're looking at it on like an iPhone or something small, it's just it has a really cool vibe to it.
That's just our rehearsal room.
Low lighting rehearsal room.
Yeah.
William, let me ask you this, man. You've been in the band now. I've just realized this. Is it 12 years?
Yes.
Does it feel like 12 years?
Yes.
Feels like 27 years.
William, does it feel like a lot longer?
Yes.
And you know, it's funny. Like time is a weird thing. You know, some people say, "Oh, time's an illusion," because it is. It's weird how your mind perceives it. In some ways, it feels like every bit of 12 years. In some ways, it feels like, you know, 5 minutes. You know, it's just there are certain things I look back on that, you know, the early tours we did that seem like, God, it was a lifetime ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other things where it's just like, yeah, I just blinked and suddenly we're 3 albums deep and we're out here again touring around. So it is a weird kind of thing, the way that trying to size all this up and trying to you know, and that's why I tend to concentrate more on what we're doing right now. Like, I want to get through this day of press. I want to get through this gig tonight. And then you do the same thing tomorrow. And then the tomorrows just line up and line up and line up. And you look back and it's like, oh, it's been this many years. Wow. Okay, cool. You know? But it's cool, you know? It's cool. And I dig this record. So, you know, we're just going to see how everybody else digs it.
Has it surprised you how, for all the guys in the band, I mean, that now you're 3 albums in with William as the singer, and the response, I mean, listen, everybody is going to always remember and celebrate Layne and what he did, but I think it's pretty amazing. You think there's these guys that can't be replaced and they're never going to be embraced, but William, I mean, from the fans, you've got to feel now after the time you've put in, the 12 years and a third studio record, it really's got to feel like a lot more of a comfortable situation for you. I imagine with each passing year it did, right?
Yeah. And again, yes. And then on the other side of it, there's what I put myself through and what, you know, just the standards I hold myself to, and the challenges that I see for myself, that I perceive for myself, or that in some instances I even set for myself. And so for me, it's never comfortable, you know, and I don't know if I could ever get to a place where that would be the case, but I understand what you're saying. And yes, in some respects, that's very true. Just, you know, time put in and people, the world has more of a chance to get used to me and the whole thing. But you know, I'm a musician, and so it's never comfortable. It's like you put yourself through this stuff, and then it's just like, oh, I want to be better than I was, you know. I want to, and time marches on, and doing these tours, doing these shows at the standard to which you want to do it becomes harder. It becomes a higher bar that you set, and it becomes harder to meet that bar. So that's how I look at it. It's just more like, you know, here we go again. Can I do it again? Yeah, I'm going to do it again. Absolutely. And I'm going to do it better. And, you know, and you do stuff like I put out this guitar just a month ago and designed this guitar and doing the amps and, you know, just stuff that makes it interesting, makes it fun, sets new challenges along with the music. And it's just like we were talking about with the film, same thing. We want to do new things. So
that's weird. I'm just the opposite of that. The only place I'm comfortable is jamming, playing bass. You know, I love this shit, man.
I'm not sure what happened, but I'm hearing a commercial right now, Ed.
Oh.
Somebody jumped our line.
Huh.
Oh, you're not hearing us?
Wow, we got
This is
cut
the
off.
craziest thing ever.
All right, hang on one sec here.
Happy Mother's Day.
Hello?
Is today Mother's Day?
No. Is it?
Hello, hello, hello.
When?
Hey, can you hear us, Ed?
Hey, you need to route audition.
Hello, hello.
Somebody cut the line on us. These guys are really boring.
Well, they
Can we
yanked ya.
cut these off?
Wait a minute. Now you're back. I can hear you guys.
You can hear
in
us?
the middle of Williams talking, we just got cut to
I had nothing to
Yay.
do with
reading a live commercial. I don't know if that was on the air. What the hell just
Awesome.
happened there, man?
No. That was just in your headphones, Eddie. We remain
Just in
here.
my-
No,
You
it's just
remained
in your
here?
head. It's just
Oh,
in your head. Ed.
Jesus.
So we fixed
You didn't,
the
you didn't
fixed the
take your
glitch live.
medication tomorrow this
Oh
morning.
my
Ed.
God!
Eddie's hearing voices.
You're hearing the
I
voices.
felt like Carrie on Homeland. If you guys watch Homeland, I was having a moment here.
Hearing the
Oh,
voices
no,
again.
jeez. Dizzy and I were looking at each other like, what, is this really happening? Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna order those the berries though, whatever it was for Mother's Day.
there was a live
Oh,
commercial
Sherry,
about
was it a
berries.
Sherry's Berries commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it worked. It worked. Yeah, their
It was a
plan
good-
worked.
It was a good deal. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dizzy went running out to the phone and started dialing Sherry's berries. I didn't know
I
what
did.
the hell happened.
There you go.
Holy shit, that was
you go.
crazy.
There you go.
So anyway, we lost William in the middle of him talking. At least I did. I know the audience didn't, but just
No, Eddie. On volume on the channel, we remained on the air.
Okay.
You only lost that. In
Are
your
we still on
headphones,
the
so-
air?
I was going to say we're just here
Where
solving
are
a
we?
solving a glitch like live.
Why
It's
are we
live,
on the
folks.
air?
It's
Yeah.
live.
Much,
folks.
yeah, much to the
I
dismay of
here?
the audience, we
Yeah.
are still on the air.
Am I really?
One other thing on this, because before we run out of time, and I'm curious for Sean, Mike, Jerry, you guys doing this and finding a guy like William now, even though now you're coming into your third record in 12 years in the
Yep.
band. Got to be a hell of a relief to know that this worked. So many guys try to do this and maybe they pick the wrong guy, it implodes. The fans don't accept it. This has got to feel like really good that this is working the way it is.
Well, it's just we started off on this with a really pure intent, and William and I have some history of touring and playing and making music before we started. Sean and Mike and I started talking about the idea of getting the band back together and maybe doing a tour and just going out and celebrating the music and kind of maybe leaving the band in a better place than we left it, and also celebrating our friends. Lane at the time, and then Mike later. So, William was willing to take on that challenge, and we never looked at it as a part of somebody as replaceable, because Lane Staley is not replaceable, and Mike Starr's not replaceable. Their period of time with us in the band on those records is indelible and completely unique. When Mike joined the band and when William joined the band, those were new eras, and they were important additions and as equally important. And so trying to celebrate all of that stuff and make it work, I think we've just done things the same way that we've always done them, whatever feels right. And it felt right at the time. We all talked to each other and said, hey, do you want to take this on? William had a huge challenge. Obviously, he was going to take a lot of shit, a little from some people up front, right? And you did, and you did.
Still do.
And us too, no lane, no chains, shit like that. It's like, this is our band.
Is that the chant? I didn't know that was the chant.
Oh, that's one of them. That's one of them.
It's just like the troll shit, but,
Yeah.
but
okay.
this is our band, this is our music, these are our friends, and we're lucky enough to be able to have worked through those challenges and continue to move forward and to create a new chapter for this band. And we've created three new big chapters in this book that is Alice in Chains.
We played a lot of gigs, man.
And we're all still sitting here,
Yeah.
and we're going to go tonight and we're going to play a sold out show,
Right.
and people still want to hear it, and it's cool, That's a really magical thing, and it's also something I'm really proud of, that we soldiered on through all of that stuff, and instead of just hanging it up, and it felt right to do that. And who knows where we go from here? We're at the very beginning of another campaign. We just dropped the tune a couple of days ago. We'll probably give you guys another one, and maybe another 8 weeks or so, and then drop the record at the end of summer, hopefully, and we'll probably be rolling well into next year, I would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love, the guitar, the vocal interplay between William and Jerry is amazing, but the guitar stuff going on too. I would say that's probably the one big difference with what's going on now is that William, you pretty much play guitar almost the whole set these days, right?
Well, I mean, it's about half and half. It depends on what songs we choose for that particular night's set. But I think the main thing is that I came into this as a fully realized musician, and I'm a guitar player first. That's all I ever wanted to be. Singing came much later for me, more as a young adult. And it was only because I started writing tunes in my late teens, early 20s that I couldn't trust to anybody else to sing them. You know, it was almost like, this is too personal. So I became a singer, and in this band had to develop a whole thing of playing without a guitar for certain songs. So how to freehand the mic. He was air guitaring
for like 2 years. You were air guitaring.
You gave him a tennis racket.
Yeah.
Running around with a tennis racket. Yeah. That was kind of fun.
No, but if you look at the early, footage of us on the very first shows we were doing and the early tours we did, it was sort of like I had to figure out immediately how to freehand a mic in front of a lot of people. And kind of transform myself, but the guitar always came first, and so I think that is the major difference. Is that coming in, it adds a whole other dimension to this group, and it allows us to do things with new music that couldn't have been done before, and it allows us to interpret older material in a way that it could never have been done before.
Lane was a pure singer that kind of learned how to play guitar.
Right.
I remember when we were on like Lollapalooza, him hanging out with like Morello and stuff, and she teaching him a few chords, and he wrote a couple of the greatest guitar riffs we ever did.
Yeah.
Angry Chair, Hate to Feel, Head Creeps.
Well, my thanks to Alice in Chains for dropping by. The new stuff sounds good. Looking forward to seeing them out there on the road very, very soon.